CSTers, before we get going, I just want to apologize for tonight's technical difficulties. Not sure what's going on or why it's happening. So if we have one more crash or any more issues tonight, we'll probably scrap this live show. But again, I apologize for the technical difficulties, and we'll get going here shortly. Bandwidth for Cincinnati Soccer Talk is provided by Cincy Shirts. Get your locally sourced FC Cincinnati MLS merch today by heading over to cincyshirts.com. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to jinx it tonight. We're live here from the cincyshirts.com studios. We appreciate you being with us here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I've got Rob Pierce with me, Boston Razzle Dazzle Brazzle with me as well. We're going to recap Saturday night's 2-0 loss to LAFC out on the West Coast. The Orange and Blue fared a lot better than a lot of you thought this week. So we're going to talk about that match. We're also going to be joined on the King's Hammer hotline by Brad Gough. He is the newest CST contributor here. As a lot of you have mentioned to us that you wanted more tactical talk on our website. Well, we've got it for you now. Brad joins us as the technical director of the Northern Kentucky Soccer Academy, and he'll be joining us a little bit later on in the King's Hammer hotline. So we're going to do our best to monitor the chat tonight. We're going to do our best to make sure this show continues live. Otherwise, you'll catch it on the podcast. I do want to say thank you to our tremendous supporter at Tara Mullins. Tara is this week's episode captain here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk, and she's getting 3 times the shout-outs this week, everybody. So, Tara, thank you so much for your support of Cincinnati Soccer Talk and for wearing the armband for this episode. To learn more on how you can wear an armband for an episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk, head over to our website, cincinnati-soccertalk.com/support. All right, let's try this again. Rob Pierce, standing by. Rob, how are you?
I am excellent, Subes. If you can believe this, I stayed awake for the whole match on Saturday. I know that I get some good-natured ribbing about, Monday shows kind of running into my bedtime, and that's fair. That's because
it's going to happen tonight now.
Yeah, that's right. But it's fair because I go straight from here to bed. But these 10:30 games are brutal. I just want to pick up California. We'll just pick it up and dump it off the Eastern Seaboard, and we'll get these games started at 10:30 or 7:30, and we can call it California Island or something like that. But it was worth staying up, though. As you mentioned, FC Cincinnati had nothing to be ashamed of for its performance on Saturday, going right up there with arguably the best team in MLS, right there until the very end. Cashing a few of those opportunities, and we're talking about a draw instead of a loss. So I can't wait to dive in and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're glad to have you back, Rob. And I'm glad you were able to stay awake for the whole match. Congratulations.
Me too.
Let's also welcome in Boston Razzle Dazzle Brazzle to the show. Boston, how are you?
Doing well, Subes. I think you were paid off by Cincy Shirts, and that's why you ran their logo and sponsor ad for the live show people 3 times. I know it's really going on. But no, I'm glad everybody stuck with us. On the plus side, the tech difficulties did give me a chance to just watch Indy 11 sink a goal off a horrible Dane Kelly back pass. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, you're one of those guys who still watches the USL, huh?
Well, the USL built FC Cincinnati.
Is that so?
According to the USL pundits today on Twitter. But no, I do occasionally like dropping in on our former FC Cincinnati players.
Sure.
That's really what I like to watch and see what's going on down there. But Indy's a good team to watch, especially if you're an FCC fan, just because of that.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad to have you back, Boston. I'm looking forward to getting your take on what transpired out on the West Coast. As I mentioned, FC Cincinnati goes out to Los Angeles Football Club in front of the 32-52, and I would say fared quite well. I mean, I know it was a 2-0 loss. In the end, it was 0 points on the night. I would say the fact that it was only 2, and really the second goal coming so late, FC Cincinnati really did a pretty good job. But before we get into the match itself, I think a lot of eyebrows were raised pretty much about a half an hour, maybe an hour before kickoff when we saw the starting lineup rolled out. Obviously, Justin Hoyt was open enough to get his first start in Major League Soccer, as well as Caleb Stanko. So, gentlemen, when you saw the lineup, what went through your mind? I'll start with you, Rob.
Yeah, that definitely jumped off the screen at me. Hoyt starting. My first thought was, well, where's Powell? And then we heard from Tommy G and Pat Brennan that both Powell and Greg Garza were hurt and did not make the trip. And then additionally, we're kind of thinking it might be a 3-5-2, and then it was announced it was going to be a 4-2-3-1. So I kind of held my breath a little bit when the match started. But, as we mentioned, they absolutely did better than I expected anyway.
Boston?
Yeah, Justin Hoyt. Woo, didn't see that coming at all. If you would have put money on it, I would have took your bet, laughed, and drove to the bank and waited for you to send me the deposit. And then I would have had to make a withdrawal because I didn't see that coming. I didn't think he would get a start in the first half of the season. But good for Justin Hoyt. He actually played pretty decently for. I actually thought the other change on the night, Caleb Stanko, wasn't one of our best moves, but. Especially with Yola on the bench, so that ended up being the one that questionable.
Yeah, so Stanko gets the start at center midfield in place of Victor Ulloa, and it was an eyebrow raiser. I guess I was more surprised at the Hoyt start than I was Stanko, to be honest with you. But I was more surprised that Los Angeles didn't really target Hoyt's side of the field. They really seemed to go after the Plon side, who played at left back instead tonight. So yeah, Hoyt held his own in his first Major League Soccer start. So we saw the lineup come out, and then what happens? Oh, seconds into the match, Spencer Ritchie is forced to make a save, and what we thought in the first 10 minutes was going to be an absolute onslaught. When you saw that, Rob, what were you thinking?
That was where I was still kind of holding my breath a little bit, but kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit here. But Ritchie is my man of the match. He dealt with everything that LAFC threw at him, and he made some excellent saves, and he kept FC Cincinnati in the game.
Well, I honestly think that first few minutes has FC Cincinnati played anyone that fast? In Major League Soccer. Will we play anyone that fast in Major League Soccer the rest of the year? Holy crap. I think you can tell, Koch probably went in there like, these guys are fast. They play a quick game. They're going to have the ball. They're going to possess. We have to play defense, blah, 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 blah. Until you see it, though, and get used to it. And that, to me, what it was. Those first 5 minutes were hang on for dear life. Okay, let's mount a couple attacks of our own. Okay,